So, just to give everybody a quick introduction, if you're not familiar, this is Matt Thibeau. He is from Savant Marketing. He owns a Facebook ads agency, and I mean, they do other things as well, but he is so wise when it comes to Facebook's ads. So, if that's something you're considering, definitely check out Savant Marketing. But again, we're very excited to have him on here tonight to talk about his new book, the Landscaper Marketing Secrets book, and share some of his tips and stuff from that book. So if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat and let us know. And we'll try to keep up with them. If we don't get to them, make sure you just reach out to us later on. Make sure we get your questions answered. But we will have a specific time at the end to kind of go through, and Matt and I will stick around here and answer any questions you guys have.
All right, sweet. So guys, we're going to jump into this and we're going to talk all about the contents in this book, Landscaper Marketing Secrets. I basically wrote this book because at this point I've been working with landscapers for about 10 years now. And basically what I've realized is that most landscapers do really great work. And, the common kind of theme that a lot of landscapers will tell me is like, man, I do great work and I've been in business for a long time, but like for whatever reason, I'm just struggling to grow this part of my business, right? Or I'm struggling to scale past this revenue mark. Maybe it's $1 million or maybe it's 500K or $2 million or whatever the number is, but maybe you're kind of plateaued at a ceiling a bit, right? And I want you to know that you're not alone. Like there's a lot of landscapers that feel this way. And a lot of times I talk to these guys and gals and they're frustrated because all it takes is like, a young gun who's kind of new to the industry, who figured out this whole marketing thing, and they're already where they're at in like half the time. Right. So what we're going to talk about here is just how you can basically create a business that has the ability to bring in qualified prospects. Oh, we got, Justin, you want to mute yourself there? The ability to bring in qualified prospects, like essentially on demand, right? And so you might be doing some marketing right now. Most of you have probably paid for ads at some point, I'm assuming. I talk to a lot of landscapers like, yeah, put like $500 or $1,000 into Facebook ads. Like it kind of worked, but like it fizzled out. Or maybe Google ads, you spent like some money there and you just weren't really able to figure it out and it fizzled out there. Or maybe you worked with a marketing company before and, it didn't really like amount to anything. Wherever you're kind of at, this is going to be super helpful for you, right? And so let's just dive right into things here. And again, like I said, remember to take some notes because I think you're going to walk away with some really cool stuff. So let's jump right into the meat and potatoes here of things. So step number one that I talked about in the book, before you do any marketing, any ads, anything like that, you need to come up with an offer that's going to be attractive to people, right? And so the first thing that I recommend to do is you want to really identify your ideal client. Now, for some of you guys, this might sound like, duh, like, of course, but there really are different types of clients out there and they are going to react to different types of marketing. So for example, if in your marketing, all you're doing is talking about price, then you're going to start to attract what I call in the book, the price shopper, someone who's literally like, they don't really have a lot of financial options and they're just looking for where's the best deal that I can get, right? But there are some other offers that you could do as well that are going to attract the type of clients that I think you and I would probably want to work with, that I recommend to work with, which are people who value, and also people who don't mind paying a little bit more for like a really great service, right? And so what I would recommend is to put some work into thinking like, who is it that we really want to attract for this business? And that kind of brings us to the next part is carving out a niche in your company. A lot of times I get mailers hit with mailers like to my door in my mail. And there's always like a company that'll be like, yeah, we specialize in lawn care, patio work, driveways. Like they'll just list out like 10 different services that they do. And that's not a specialization. And don't get me wrong, offering lots of different services is a great way to scale your company because now you can sell more services to the same customer. However, when you're looking at it from a marketing perspective, you definitely want to figure out like, what is that one or two different types of services that we could really focus on and be known for? That's going to be the face of our business for the marketing there. And I know, Scott, you and I, we've talked about this. Like, do you want to just kind of chime in on your experience with some of that?
Yeah, absolutely. This was really a kind of game changer. And I didn't really, honestly, at the time, I didn't realize this is what we were doing, but we did a little bit of everything in our business. And once we really started niching down and kind of getting into specializing in like hardscapes and water features, that was our like niche. And when we started doing this, like you said, it actually made it easier to market because that's what we kept from pushing. But when we got out there to actually do the estimate for a job, I'm always pushing a water feature, but then I'm like, well, you need some landscaping around here. You need a patio, you need a fire pit,
Nice.
so we can, you are selling those other services, but we really just push out there in front of the public the water features, the hardscaping types of things. And
Yeah.
that's what you get known for. And honestly, even like the water features, other contractors knew us as the water feature company and they would refer us to have us go do the water feature installation. And just maybe
Yeah.
just that's all we do for them. But you get known for that in their area just by niching down and kind of promoting a few services. So just
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
Yeah, and guess also, like, that's an easy way to get paid more than maybe another contractor that doesn't specialize in it, right? Maybe they're doing a whole bunch of different stuff, but the customer sees like, wow, like Scott specializes in the water features, like, he's a little bit more expensive, but like I know he's gonna get it done properly, right? So that's why having a niche is great. Also, another aspect of the niche, marketing aside, is that you can really simplify your operations. So, like, we have some clients where they literally only do like one type of service and they don't take on other work, you know? So, I'm not saying you have to do that, but like that can really simplify the operations of a company as well. So that's just like some of the things I would recommend. I'm going to give you guys some really practical offers for some different types of landscaping companies here. So I see that we have some lawn care guys on here. So if you're doing like lawn care, like treatments, right? Fertilization, weed control, that kind of thing. The clients that we work with, what we'll do is a couple different offers. I always like to throw in extra value for an offer. So for example, for the treatments, we have a client where we'll do like a free grub control treatment included with the application package that the person buys. And so we'll put a value on that. We'll say have a value of XYZ amount included for free. So that's going to attract someone who's like not so much price sensitive, but they're just looking for like value, right? And you can use that in your marketing. That's a really great approach. Also, just having speed. So same day estimates for lawn care, like you can do a same day estimate even over the phone or on Zoom. That has a lot of value for people because most people are tired of waiting for contractors like 2, 3 days, a week or whatever, just to get them an estimate. If you can deliver an estimate right on the spot, like that's valuable. Yeah. Anything you want to share there, Scott?
Sorry, there we go. No, I think that's exactly right. Having something that you can put out there and to attract that customer is a long way. This is we've talked about this before when we had you on the podcast. People put these ads out there and then just have them come back to the website and just it's everything. You can't
Yeah.
promote everything. You have to promote just one specific thing. So having something special that draws them in makes a big deal. So like we would do if we install a patio for you, we'll install a small lighting system in there. So it might be just a 7 light
Oh, that's
fixture
cool.
set. So something like that, it's not very expensive. We can kind of work into the price. That really attracts those customers. I
Included for
saw,
free. Yeah. Like
yeah,
you'll
and
work in
I
the price, but you market it as included. Yeah.
yeah, I know a company near us, they would do if you do a full patio and walls, they would throw a fire pit in for free. So something like that can go
That's
a
cool.
long way and really attract those customers.
Yeah. And for some of you guys, I saw that there's like landscaping design type people in there. Like for that type of service, you could do like an extended warranty included for that. So maybe you warranty some of the work that you do. We have some clients that will guarantee like if you do XYZ, like they'll guarantee the plant material, like the life on it for like a year or something like that. Now with ChatGPT as well, putting out free design consultations is pretty simple. It's obviously not going to be as like intricate as like some of the other softwares out there. But like if you have a smaller company and maybe you're looking to take on some more landscape design stuff and you just want to add some extra value in like real quick and dirty, like ChatGPT can take a picture of the backyard and just do some prompts and say like add a patio back here with like blah blah blah. So there's a lot of really cool options that you could do and you can work that into an offer. So anyway, all that to say, niching down your business and coming up with a unique offer that's not just like a lazy 10% off or something like that This is going to go a long way for you guys. This is going to help you stand out a lot, and it's going to attract the right type of customers. So let's move along here. Let's talk a little bit about building up your reputation. I think that this is going to be really helpful for a lot of you guys. So right now, still as it stands, Google business listings, like your business profile, is the best place that you want to get reviews for. There's other like, other websites, Yelp, BBB, Homestars, like all of these other listings, but Google is the best because that's where people are searching through for your business, right? And so it still stands that Google's the best place for you to get reviews. And if you guys don't know anything about something called local SEO, that's the process of ranking that business listing higher up in the ranking. So let's say someone types in like landscaper near me. Well, the more reviews that you have on that business listing, it's going to rank that higher up, right? And so you don't even have to pay for ads for that business listing. So if you get a bunch of reviews on that listing, then it's going to rank it higher up in search results and people are going to naturally find you. So it's one of the best ROI platforms that you could focus your time on, right? Now, a lot of times, like when I tell people to get reviews, they'll come up with like different problems that they're facing. So like one problem is they'll be like, but Matt, like not everyone has a Gmail account, Like I ask people, and if that's what's stopping you, you're just not asking enough people. So when someone tells me that, I'm like, well, how many people have you asked? Out of 10 people, how many people can't do it because they don't have a Gmail account? And they're like, well, like one or two people, If it's like 6 people, okay, now you have a bit of a problem. But if it's just 1 or 2 people, just keep asking, like just increase the volume, right? I have some really specific strategies as well that I share in the book of how to make reviews easy, because that's the number one reason why you guys aren't getting the type of reviews that you want on your business listing, especially if you do like higher volume landscaping type work. So lawn care, high volume, you have lots of customers, right? Maybe if you're like a super high-end landscape design company, then maybe you don't have like a ton of customers in a year. But if you're like lawn care or you do anything else, like just general landscaping, you're gonna have a lot more customers, and that means that you can get a lot more reviews, right? And so some of the simplest strategies that I share of how you can get reviews, I'll share with you 3 different strategies. Number 1 is using something called NFC cards. Now, you guys may have seen these on the internet where these little cards that you can just tap on people's phones and it pops open and it like, you can just leave a review right on your business listing there. You probably see like marketers selling these on Facebook ads or whatever for like $60, $80 a pop. But all they're doing is just rebranding a card called NFC cards. So you could literally just go to a website like AliExpress, Alibaba, whatever, and just type up NFC card. And you'll be able to find these cards selling for $1 a piece because it's literally just a piece of plastic you can program. And then you just tap it on your phone, it'll open up to your business listing. Give your team these. You could set up like an incentive program where maybe everyone, every 5-star that an employee of yours is able to get, then maybe they get a bonus. Maybe they get $20 or whatever it is, right? There's some things that you could do there. In terms of automation, I'll let Scott maybe talk about that when we talk a little bit about the appointment setting and lead speed, because there are some automations you can set up where every single time that you complete a job, you could just drag it in your CRM to like a review section, and they'll just automatically get hit with a text or an email saying, hey, like, would you mind leaving us a review? That's going to make it really simple as well. There's other tools as well that do this. So there's like a tool called Nice Job that a lot of our clients also enjoy using. It doesn't really matter what it is that you use, but just something that's effective, right? So some people really like the NFC cards. Some people really like the automation. If you're doing all of it, then you're going to get lots of reviews, right? Something else too that you could do is like mass emailing. So we're going into Q4 now. Like a lot of you guys have been doing work all year long and you got all these happy customers who, you probably have been too busy to ask for a review. Maybe you should hit them with a mass email right now and just say, hey, could you do us a quick favor? Could you leave us a review? We'd really appreciate it. So these are some things that you could do to start building up those reviews. Some other things that you can do as well is also taking care of some negative reviews, right? So if you've been in business long enough, it's pretty inevitable you're going to get a negative review, whether it's spam, whether it's, an unhappy customer, or misunderstanding, a disgruntled employee. Like we've seen everything, right? And so there's really three different ways that you can deal with negative reviews, and you need to deal with them because some contractors and landscapers, they just like ignore it and hope it goes away. But you want to deal with it in a very specific way. I'm going to show you how you can use negative reviews as an advantage, actually, for basically selling prospects on like transparency and making you actually look a lot more respectable. So let's say you get a negative review. The first thing that you should try and do is do something what I call elimination. So like try to remove it. So clients ask us all the time, Matt, am I able to remove this negative review? And the answer is sometimes, if the review breaks Google's terms of service. All right. So I'm gonna share with you basically how you can remove negative reviews. So if the review isn't from a paying customer, there's most likely a way for you to remove it. The only way you can't remove it in that case is if the person is something called a local guide, which means like they've left a lot of reviews on Google. So if they have like that little star next to their name and they haven't worked with you, but for whatever reason, they're like, oh, like I don't like Drew or I don't like Christy or whatever, and they just leave you a negative review, it's going to be a lot harder. But most of the people who are just leaving random negative reviews are not local guides. So let's say you get a random negative review from someone who your team cut them off in traffic with your van, right? And you have like your van wrapped, right? And someone was like, oh, like bad driver, 1 star. All you have to do is there are 3 dots next to the review, and you can just click on those 3 dots, and then you can just click report this review. And then it will open up and show you like, what do you want to report this review for? And then you can select what you want to report it for. So there's one that says like, we've never worked with this customer. And there's other ones that are like hate speech or like whatever. So if they swear or something, like you can put it under profanity or whatever. And most of the time it will get removed, which is awesome. Let's say that you can't remove it, right? The next thing that you can do is what I call resolution, which is basically where it kind of sucks, but it's basically where you call up the person and you just say, hey, we're really sorry. It didn't work out. Like, we really wanted the best here. I saw your review. I was wondering, like, is there any way that we could basically come to like some kind of fair agreement here? Like, we want to help and make this right. And so you basically just like, how can we make this right? So maybe that's a discount. Maybe it's going back and like fixing the job and adding something in for free. You guys know your business best. But if you can't eliminate the review, the next best thing to do is do like some kind of resolution, resolve it. Sometimes the customers, they're just not going to want to do that. And in that case, then the next best thing that you could do is what I call dilution. So let's say you can't remove it and you can't come to an agreement for them to change the review to like a 5-star, or at least a 4 or whatever, right? Then you want to dilute the crap out of your reviews, right? So basically what this means is for every 1-star review that you get, you're going to need 10 5-star reviews to offset that, right? And so basically what you want to do is use the strategies like I talked about here, like NFC cards, emails, automation, to get more volume of reviews coming through, but you're not going to leave it there. What you're also going to do is you're going to reply to the negative review. And what you're going to do in the negative review is you're essentially going to give context to anyone else who's reading of what happened and what's your side of the story. So in the negative review, it could be like, oh, like really sad that like, this turned out this way. And like, this wasn't what we wanted. Just for clarification though, and then you could list off like some of the context, right? And what this is going to do, you don't want to do it in like a weird tone where you're being kind of like facetious or like malicious or anything, but you just want to come off as being like, hey, this is our side of the story, and giving real facts that are like kind of hard to deny. And then other people who are reading that review are going to be like, oh, like this just seems like an outlier, right? Like this person was just kind of like maybe weird, or their expectations were off, or et cetera, et cetera. And so this is going to be really helpful for you. So building your online reputation, super, super important. If a client comes to us and they want to run ads and they don't have a good online reputation, we have to fix that first. Like, if you have negative reviews, we got to bump that up. If you have no reviews, like we won't launch a campaign until you have at least 10 5-star reviews on there. Because this is what's going to happen, guys. People are going to look at your ads or you're going to trade shows or you're doing any of other marketing, the first thing they do is Google you. And then they're going to see like oh, he's rated like 2 stars or she's rated like 1 star or whatever. Like they're not going to want to work with you. Building your online reputation. Anything to share there, Scott?
Yeah, just a couple things. How Matt was talking about, you definitely want to have those Google reviews. I can tell you from an aspect of trying to help people improve their Google business profiles, they're optimizing them. You have to have at least 10 reviews. 10 is like the magic number. If you have less than 10 reviews, there is nothing that you can do to your Google business profile to get you ranked higher. It's just impossible. I've tried it for a couple people and I kept asking them to get more reviews. And once they
Yeah.
finally reached that 10, that's when their ranking started going up. So 10 is like the magic number there. The other thing I wanted to add in real quick about those negative reviews, if you receive a negative review and you did not work for that company or that person, I should say, do not respond to it. That's the very first thing. If you respond to it, Google thinks you have, even if you
Yeah.
say you didn't work for them, Google will, the algorithm will think that you actually did something for them. So do not respond to them. Go to the 3 dots, like Matt said, and kind of follow that process. That is one thing. Now, if you do, like he said, a couple things to kind of push it out of the way, if it is a customer that did and they don't remove it, like Matt suggested, ask for the next people to leave a review with a picture. A picture
That's a
will
really good tip.
yeah, a picture will actually go above everything else and start pushing the other people down. So ask for a picture. And the last thing I'll throw in there with the Google reviews is ask the customer to like share what you did on their property. So if they did a patio, ask them to say that we did a backyard patio, that you redid the landscaping in the front yard.
Yep.
Be specific. And you may have to guide the people on this. You could be like Matt talks about the NFC cards. I recommended a business cards that have the QR code, has a link on there. On the other side of the business card actually lists out a few tips on what they should say, because people sometimes just need a little guidance. They don't know what to say.
Mm.
So you give them some words or some suggestions. Even in Matt, in his book, he actually recommended sometimes you may have to write it for them and just give it to them, let them do it. So definitely some great tips in there.
Yeah, I'm happy that you said the thing about adding the picture because that is very true. And then in the reply, putting the keyword. Yeah.
Yeah.
So guys, like in your reply to the review too, don't just say like, "Hey, thanks, like really appreciate you." You can say like, "Hey, Bob, thanks. It was a pleasure working on your patio project. We're happy to be, the #1 landscaping company in insert city." You know what I mean? So you could do it like that. Putting the city, putting the keyword for the service, that is also going to help rank it higher.
Yeah, definitely. Great tips there.
All right, let's talk a little bit about websites and landing pages. So I kind of want Scott to talk a little bit, like in this section, a little bit more, because I think he has a lot more expertise when it comes to the website side of things. But I'm going to give you some really simple strategies that you could do on your website of how we like to structure websites and what I look for. So the first thing is like in your headline of your website, you're going to have a headline and then you're going to have a sub headline under that, right? And for the headline, what I like to do is answer the question, what is this? And then in the sub headline is what will it do for me, right? So for an example of that would be like, it would be like landscaping services in Ottawa, Ontario, right? So what is it? It's landscaping services in Ottawa, Ontario. What will it do for me? Transform your curb appeal or like transform your home and blah, 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 right? So you can add some of the benefits in the sub headline there as well. So that's going to be like kind of the first thing that you want to do because that's going to create clarity. Because sometimes you'll go to a website and it's like there's almost like too much thought going into the main headline and the sub headline, and like they're getting like almost too fancy with it where you don't even understand what it is. So just stupid simple, just say like what you do, where you're based, and then the sub headline would just be like, what is the benefit that you're going to get out of it, right? The other thing too that I like to do on a website is kind of structure it from an AIDA formula, I call it. So you want to start off with getting people's attention, which is typically with like the headline. Maybe you can have like the offer in the sub headline or some kind of benefit. And then as they scroll down, your job is to start building up interest, right? So one of the easiest ways you can start building up interest is just making it relevant for people. So one of the worst things that you could do if you're trying to build up interest is just talk all about you. And this is kind of like a habit that a lot of older landscaping companies will fall into because they've been in for business for so long. They'll be like, since 1994, example landscaping has served this area, and we are pride and we're proud, and we've been doing this, and all of our team and blah blah blah. But what people really want to hear is the word you. So the word you is extremely powerful because if you can speak one-on-one in what's called a colloquial language, where it feels like you're just speaking to someone, you're saying, if you're looking for this, then XYZ, then that is going to build a lot of interest, right? So using the word you instead of our clients, and then refer to yourself as we instead of, in third person, like example landscaping or something like that. So that's one tip I could give you guys that would make your website read much better, and it's going to really build the interest. If you want to start building desire after the interest, this is where you can start loading on stuff like testimonials. Maybe you're a member of your local association. Maybe you got 5 stars on Google reviews. Grab a badge and show, well, hey, we're 5 stars on Google reviews. Maybe you're 5 stars on Facebook. Show that as well. Maybe you won an award. Maybe in your local area, you won some kind of award. You want to show that as well. And all of this is going to start building up that authority and desire for people to be like, wow, like, look at all these great reviews. Look at all this good authority. Wow, like they're number 1 in the area, blah, blah, blah. And then the last thing I finish with is action. So telling the reader exactly what to do. One of the worst things that's like really painful for me as a marketer is seeing a great website or seeing an amazing ad. And then at the end, they're just like, yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. See ya. And it's like, that's not a call to action, right? So a call to action is telling them specifically what to do. So click the button below, fill out the form to request your 100% no obligation quote today, right? So tell them what you want them to do and just be really specific about it. If it's in an ad, give us a call at the number above or mash the button below to request your free estimate, and we'll get in contact with you within 24 hours or less. So you want to be very, very specific. Scott, you want to share anything?
No, that's exactly right. And one of the things that you mentioned here is definitely having the call to action, having buttons, a couple different spots on your website. Actually, I think you even mentioned that in your book, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
You talk about having those CTA, the call to action buttons in various spots in your website. And I'm not sure if you haven't really covered that, but having your phone number where people can actually see it, like have it visible. It should be, in my opinion, it should be the upper right-hand corner of your website. Everybody should be able to see that really easy. Click on it, make it clickable because everybody's on mobile anymore, and be able to have it, make it easy for your customer to reach out to you.
Yeah. Something else too that's not here, but we're kind of getting to it, is just having great content. So like having really great content on the website as well. So not just before and after pictures, because kind of everyone knows that now. Like if you're not using before and after pictures, start using them. But beyond before and after pictures, just showing your team as well, showing your trucks, showing your team. Scott and I were talking, he was actually like, hey, if you do a really great job on a project, you could even stage it, right? So you could like throw a party if it's like a really nice backyard overhaul, throw a party, get a professional photographer in there and get some like awesome shots of people actually enjoying the backyard. That could be like your website, like header background. Like that's really cool. Yeah. Anything
You
to
can
add
go
there?
buy, like, seriously, you can go to like the dollar store, buy like the fake wine glasses that are like different colors just because they stand out. Most of us use the clear glasses or something like that, but buy something that stands out in the pictures and makes it pop. So just keep that in mind, and, have a bottle of wine at just, you want people to be able to visualize what their backyard could be like, having a party, having family over, whatever is important to them. So make sure it's kind of visible out there and stands out.
Yeah. Something else too is if you guys don't have a blog on your website, I definitely recommend to get a blog on your site because that is definitely going to help you with SEO. So basically having a blog on your site, if you're posting new content and it's like helpful content, like tips on how to improve your curb appeal, or like tips on having a better deck or like a better patio, et cetera, et cetera. Those are all keywords that like will start to rank through Google, and it will start to signal as well to Google, like, hey, this website has all this different information. It's going to want to show it more often. So essentially, like the more data points that you're giving Google, it's just going to want to rank that. And this is definitely also going to put you in a good position for things like AEO, which is like AI answer optimization, right? Answer engine optimization, sorry. So like you could even post like, I know some companies where they'll do like top 10 landscaping companies in this area, and it's on their website. So like they'll acknowledge their competitors, but they'll put themselves like first in that blog, you know? So like that's a strategy you can do as well, because now if someone's typing to like ChatGPT and they're like, hey, what's the best landscaping company in Toronto or wherever, then it's going to pull data from Google as well, right? So that's also a really good tip that you could do.
Few other things I'll just throw out there
Yeah.
is to have service area pages. So,
Yeah.
meaning wherever cities, towns you work in, you want to have specific pages about that. I see a lot of landscapers. I actually saw somebody on here post in the chat that they had only a 3-page website. That's good to kind of get you started, but over time, you definitely want to build these up. You want to have service area pages listing out the cities, the towns that you work in, and kind of highlighting like something that people know that's in that city, whether it's like we have a clock tower everybody goes to here in this town. So just kind of mentioning those little things, people can relate to it and it really stands out. You also want to have services pages, not just like something that lists out landscaping, irrigation. You want to have a page specifically for landscaping, specifically for irrigation, specifically for drainage, whatever
Yeah.
that will help stand out. And the last thing I'll throw out there, and this will help with the AEIO or AEIO, AEO will
There's not an official name yet.
is the FAQs. Having FAQs on your
Mm.
website is now being found to really help get found on Google and these search engines or AI search engine stuff. So definitely have those on there. If you don't have them, go add them on yourself or, have your
Mhm.
web designer put those on there. That's something that's needed nowadays.
That's a good tip. Let's talk about building content, because Scott was saying like Facebook ads is kind of our specialty, and that is what's working absolutely the best right now on Facebook is just having amazing content. Most landscapers are doing like the bare minimum when it comes to content. And now with AI, there's a lot of options that you have for creating like really, really cool ads. So I'm going to walk through the 3 different types of content that you need if you want to really dominate Facebook right now. Number 1, like we said, are before and after shots. You know, you definitely want to make sure that the lighting in the after shots looks good. You want to make sure that the after shot in general just looks better than the before shot. Sometimes clients will give us like an after shot and I'm like, man, the before looks better, to be honest. Like the lighting is better and like there's like all this like equipment in the after shot and it's all dark and like, it doesn't look good. So you definitely want to put some good work, take it at the same angle so someone's brain can like understand the work that was done when they're looking left to right. I had someone debate me too that they're like, oh, the after shot should be on the left side. You want to see like the better side first and then like the before after. No, do the before on the left and then the after on the right. Okay. That's definitely going to be helpful. So before and after shots, those work great for Facebook ads. Less so now, though, I will say. Second, what works better than before and after shots are going to be action shots. So these would be pictures of your crew, ideally like wearing branded merch. If you have trucks that are wrapped, with your logo on it, your branding, that's awesome. Basically, in the action shots, you just want to get pictures of you and your crew actually doing the installation or the maintenance or actually like with a customer, right? We have one client where he has a special sign and he'll take a sign with every customer and it says, I love my backyard, So like, you could do stuff like that. It's really fun. So those are some things you could do for action shots. But the third are going to be these videos, these selfie style videos. So these are what's working the best right now out of all of your options. Basically, these are simple videos that you would take on your phone in portrait mode. You're just going to say something like, hey, what's going on, everyone? I just want everyone in the area to know that we're doing this. This is like a special offer we have right now, and here's how you can contact me. They're about a minute or two, just a simple elevator pitch. And then what we do is we edit those up. So we use AI and we use CapCut. It's a free editing software. We have the paid version though, but you could use the free version and you can edit them up to be like some really cool ads. So I want to show you guys some examples. Scott, are you able to see this right now? Yeah, sweet. Awesome. Yeah, so I'll show you some examples right here. Hopefully the audio will work, but if not, you can get an idea.
Here, right, fresh line on here. Right now, we're going to trees your art. You want to put your one, very best one.
Right, so you get the picture. You can also do, so this was like more of a selfie.
Hey, Matt, just real quick, those are volume isn't really coming through. At
No?
least
Okay. Well, at least you guys have the visuals on it. But yeah, so I mean, they're not it's not like crazy editing. It's you know, it still looks very genuine and authentic, and I think that's why they work. You know, so have a crack at it. Record some videos on your phone. For the first couple ones, it might be a little bit like uncomfortable if you're like kind of just doing it for the first time. But even if you're not running ads and you're like, what could I do on social media in 2026 to really take my social media presence to another level, is this kind of stuff. Doing videos. Hey, what's going on? We're out here with the crew. Today we're finishing up a super intricate job that we're really proud of. Yada, 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 right? So those are working really well right now. All right. So let's talk a little bit about Facebook advertising. I could do, like, I have done webinars on this. At this point, I've been doing a YouTube video every week for about a year talking about Facebook ads, and I still haven't run out of stuff to talk about. So I can talk a lot about Facebook ads, but I'm going to leave you guys with just some high level ones that I think are going to just be really, really valuable for you. So the typical cost per lead that you want to shoot for on Facebook ads is going to be about $20 to $50 a lead. If you're running something called messaging ads, it's going to be much less than that, but I wouldn't recommend to do that. You want to use something called lead form ads. So basically what these are where it's going to open up a form that someone can fill out, and then you can ask them for their name, phone number, email, description of the job, timeline, etc. And then that will text over to you or email over to you or go into your CRM, right? So those are typically 20 to 50 bucks. And essentially, I want to give you guys an understanding of what to expect when it comes to sales and booking appointments and kind of like how to project that, because a lot of clients find this really helpful. So I call it the 50-30 rule, which is generally that 50% of your leads from Facebook are going to book in for an estimate. And then of those estimates, 30% will close. So then what you can do is basically reverse engineer that, right? So if you're like, I want to add $50,000 and then my average job is $10,000, then all you can do is just work backwards. Okay, I need 5 jobs, right? And then you could just work backwards from there. How many estimates would that be if I'm closing at 30%, blah, blah, blah. So then you can have an idea of how many leads that you're going to need. And then all you have to do is then just take the number of leads and then times that by the amount of ad spend you need, right? So if it's 50 bucks a lead, and then you know that you need this many leads, you just times 50 bucks times, you know, how many leads that you need, right? So this is like a really simple way that I do it to be able to help clients like understand what they need to spend, right? And it's pretty accurate. So in the book, I really like break it down. I show some examples of like how you can basically go into a campaign being like, okay, this is the goal I want. What do I need to spend? And then it's pretty accurate. So the 50-30 rule works really, really well. A couple of tips as well I would give you is that also like some guys will just like run a Facebook ad and it's just like one ad, right? You don't want to do that. You want to have about 8 to 10 different ads for any given ad set, it's called, right? So let's say you're running a campaign for general landscaping. Let's say it's like maintenance, right? Mulching and planting and stuff like that. You want to do about 8 to 10 different ads that would be a mixture of before and after pictures, action shots, and those selfie videos. And then you'll have 8 to 10 running at the same time. What this is going to do is it's going to be really obvious to you which ones are winning and then which ones are not winning so well. And then you're just going to turn off the ones that aren't winning and you're going to double down on the ones that are. So let's say that you see like, wow, the video selfies are really popping off. We're getting $20 leads. And then everything else is like $70 leads, right? go all in on the video ads then. Just start creating more and more video ads. And this is how you can really start to build out like a well-structured campaign. And remember too, is like the more that you start spending on Facebook ads, the more people are seeing those ads as well, right? So just because you're getting lots of leads and things are working when you're spending $2,000 a month on Facebook ads, we have some clients that are spending 15 grand a month, $20,000 a month on just Facebook ads alone. That means that you're going to need to create a lot more content and be testing a lot more ads to be able to sustain the same amount of cost per lead, right? So all of that to say is that having great content is going to be extremely valuable for Facebook ads. So if you want to advertise on Facebook, you have to get serious about the videos and the pictures. And I would say you have to make a commitment to like consistently getting that content as well. Scott, you want to add anything in there?
As far as ads, no, you're the
Yeah.
Facebook ads expert here. Sorry. I mean, I know the basics of it,
Yes.
but everything you said is stuff that that I would say on repeat just because I know that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
you're the go-to guy here.
Yeah, no worries at all. Yeah, so that is the Facebook ad side. People always ask, like, what's like the lowest budget I could spend on Facebook, Matt? I would say that, like, if you can't spend $1,500 a month on ads on Facebook and like be comfortable running it for a month without getting cash in the bank, then you're probably not ready to run Facebook ads yet. The like kind of average kind of ad spend that we run with clients is usually around $3,000 a month. And like I said, $20 to $50 leads there. So you can easily start getting like 60 leads a month on that kind of a budget. So that's kind of like a general idea because I know people are probably wondering that kind of thing. So that's a little bit about Facebook ads. Another one here that I want to talk about, we're running out of time, so I'm going to just touch on this here, is Google advertising. So people ask me like, Matt, Google ads, what should I do? Local service ads or search ads on Google? What I'm seeing right now and like what I'm recommending going into 2026, I'm a big fan of the local service ads because I just feel like the search ads now on Google, if you guys don't know the difference between this, basically local service ads, they have that green check mark and they're called like Google guaranteed. And you kind of show up in like your own little section. And then the search ads is where you're paying for ads to show up individually, like in the search results, right? And so I'm finding that local service ads are much better, to be honest. Here's why, is because you can control the cost per lead. So you can literally go in there and say like, I'm bidding this much per lead and this is what I want to pay. And then also if you get unqualified leads, you can actually like get a credit towards that. So you can like dispute it and get a credit towards that and basically report it. Something else that's really cool too with local service ads that we're doing now is we're also like helping train the algorithm for our clients. So every lead that you get through with local service ads, you could just go in and say like, this was a good lead, or no, this wasn't such a good lead. And then you can basically start to train the algorithm to understand like, oh, these are the type of leads that they want. I'm going to give them more of these and then not so much of those. So we're definitely seeing like better lead flow come through with this. The only time that I would run search ads where we are running it for some clients is where they have like a really specific keyword that they want to go after. Because with local service ads, you can only go after like a category, right? Like lawn care or landscaping, like it's more broad. Whereas with search ads, you could go after like a really specific category, right? So you do have a little bit more control there. But I would say generally, like if you're like, like I want to do Google ads, but which one should I do? If you can do it, I would definitely say local service ads right now. So I would highly recommend it. And what's awesome is you can pair the local service ads with all the reviews and the local SEO that you're doing. So remember when we were talking about getting reviews on your business listing and all the cool stuff that Scott was talking about, then just pair it with the ads. So now you're boosting that listing and people are going to see all those great reviews. So it's going to make your local service ads work even better. So that's what I would personally recommend for the Google advertising there. Any Scott, do you want to talk about Google at all, or?
No, we're seeing the same thing with our
Yeah.
clients as far as the local
Okay,
service
cool.
ads. They've been killing it with those more so than the search ads. And honestly, the the service ads, the local service ads are much easier to set up. There is some process to, get
Yeah.
verified and make sure. That's why they're called Google guaranteed, but it's pretty simple once you kind of get verified.
Yeah. 100%. All right. So that is all the marketing aspects. Obviously, in the book, we go a lot deeper, but what I wanted to include as well, the last step in the book, is just talking about the importance of appointment setting. Because what I've realized is that early on in my career, I would like generate a bunch of leads for a client, and then I'd be like, man, I'm freaking killing it right now. Like, this guy's going to be so stoked. And then get on the phone with them and be like, yeah, like, and they'd be like, yeah, we didn't close a single sale. And I'd be like, what? You got like 100 leads this month. Like, what happened? And what I realized over time with like being more diligent and looking into things is I realized like they're not calling them fast enough. They're not meeting with these prospects. Like, they're just emailing over the estimate. I would like record the calls and listen to them and like cringe listening to like people basically like anti-selling some of these leads, right? And so good appointment setting is really like how you can create a marriage between marketing and sales. And it's that critical bridge that's going to help translate all of the marketing into closed sales, right? So a couple things that I just want to leave you with here, and then I want Scott to talk about some of this stuff because he has some cool stuff going on here. But really, how we measure appointment setting with a client is we measure it using something called connection rate, a discovery call, and the booking rate. So what connection rate is of the leads that are generated, how many are you having a conversation with, right? Because sometimes what happens is if you don't call your lead fast enough, or let's say that you let it sit for a day, or let's say that you're only texting your leads and you're not calling them, right? That is going to drive the connection rate down. And this is bad because maybe you're really good at selling. Maybe what, like, we have a lot of clients will be like, hey, get me in front of someone and I know I can close the job. But if you have a low connection rate, if you're not able to actually get them on the phone and like start talking about the project, then you're never going to be able to book in for that appointment, right? So connection rate is super important, and you should be connecting with at least 90% of your leads that you're generating. Okay. If we hop on a call with a client and we've generated 100 leads for that month, and they say, yeah, I was only able to have a conversation with 20 of them, then we know that's a massive connection rate problem. And what we say then for that is you need to call your leads faster and you need to call them and text them, right? Usually when someone has a low connection rate, it's because when a lead comes in, they let it sit for a day and they'll shoot them a text and be like, hey, I saw you requested a quote, like, tell me about it. And that's it. Right? So you got to put a little bit more effort into that. Discovery call. So let's say you get them on the phone. All you're doing in the discovery call, I could talk about this for a long time, but essentially what you're doing is just evaluating, like, do I want to work with someone like this? Have they worked with a landscaper before? Do they have a track record of spending money in this area? What's their level of education like, right? Like, do they understand what something like this costs? In the book, I actually give you like a script. So you'll have like a script of like some questions to ask. I'm sure Scott can share some stuff too, like, cause he also helps people with the sales process and stuff. But that's also super important as well.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I've kind of learned is you have to be pretty good at sales. And this is something I can, even myself, I still continue to read and learn about sales because this is something that's always kind of changing with the new technology and just you don't want to come across slimy. I know a lot of us that's a big concern, and I understand that. But you have to learn how to speak to people and how to connect to the people and how to ask the right questions. Because if you don't, you're going to waste all those leads. You hire Matt to come out and make all these Facebook ads and starts getting these leads in. You're just kind of throwing the money away if you're not getting back to them and not knowing how to respond to and discover what they actually want and can they actually afford it? Is it in your service area? Those types of things are very important. So yeah, absolutely. You have to ask the right questions, but we always can always be getting better at sales. This is something that from the very beginning all the way through, like answering the phone call all the way through, even after you're done working with that customer, you finish that job, there's still things you can be talking about. You can be selling, not selling, but upselling, I guess you could be doing, but you could be getting for reviews. You still have to do this, and then following up, and then selling more stuff to them because they're even a customer. So it's just a lot to it. So sales goes all beyond just the initial phone call and talking to them.
Yeah. Yeah, the biggest thing I think I would say for that discovery call, which again is just that quick 10 to 15 call that you do with a lead to set up the appointment. Basically, what I would just say is like, just do a really good job of listening. Like the most cringe thing is if you're just talking all about the project and like, yeah, this is what I would recommend. And like this, it's like the scope of the project can change. So don't talk about the scope of the project for more than like, I would say like a couple of minutes, you know? What's really important though is their pain and like why they're reaching out to you, because the scope of the project, once you meet with them, they might do like what Scott was saying. Oh yeah, I want to add that over here. I want to add that over there. It's like, well, now the scope is much bigger. Like I know some contractors where they'll be like, oh yeah, like I got on the phone with that lead and he said that, you know, his budget was only 10 grand or whatever. And we do $20,000 projects, like not a good fit. It's like, dude, they don't know who you are. You literally had like a 5-second conversation. This is someone who's willing to reach out to you and is interested. Explore that opportunity, right? Obviously, we don't want you driving out to like unqualified appointments, but all that to say is that in the discovery call, you can definitely find evidence that like, okay, they have access to money, or they have access, or they have a proven track record of wanting more or whatever, right? So
The one thing I'll add on is Stephen kind of mentioned it. He said a lot of people don't answer the phone even after he calls within minutes of getting their lead into the CRM. Then they just end up texting and they're good with that. That is
that's
absolutely
cool.
true. This is why it's, to me, it's kind of a multi-touch type of thing. So you try to pick up the phone, make a phone call. They don't answer. You text them. You getting back to them, and then emailing them, because this is where you want to collect all their information on, on your website or using Facebook leads ads and stuff like that. You want to collect their name, address, phone number, email. You want to collect all that stuff so you can reach out to those people different manners. Some people want to be texted. Some people want to be have a phone call. It depends
Yeah.
on the client, depends on honestly how old they are. A lot of older people, from my experience, don't necessarily want to text. They rather talk to somebody on the phone. Some people don't want to text or talk to you on the phone. They'd rather text. So having multiple ways of getting in contact with somebody, and that's where, going along with Stephen's comment about having a CRM, this is so important to have a CRM to collect the information. And just to touch on CRMs a little bit, a CRM is something that you should be able to collect that customer's information and be able to get back to that customer, to respond back to that customer, follow up with that customer appropriately, not just collect it and it just sits in a database somewhere. You have to be able to get back to it and use that CRM. So some of those softwares out there, I will caution, they're just data collectors. They don't do anything with it. So that's something that's really important. That's why we have created our own CRM. We have our lead speed program where we actually can collect it and we can automate things off the back end to reach out to that customer, find out more about the project. I mean, you can go as far as having outbound calls that by AI. So there's a lot of things that can be done with it, depending on what level you're at. So, but you have to have a CRM. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah. I was just asking in the chat here, like who has a CRM? We're at the point with our agency where if a client doesn't have a CRM, then we give them a CRM included with our service, because we can't do our service of lead generation without them having a CRM. Otherwise, the value, like it devalues our service, right? So everyone should have a CRM. There's no point in doing marketing if you're not keeping track of it all. Drew says he uses Service Autopilot. Steven says he's using Yardbook. Nice. I haven't heard about that one. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yardbook's another one that's been out there. It's actually a very affordable option. So
Nice. Yeah, I mean, whatever CRM you're comfortable with, that's good. I would say that you definitely want to be able to store some good information in your CRM, and ideally it has some capabilities like using some automation, even if it's just light. Like when a lead comes through, just sending an automatic text, like, hey, saw your request for a quote, you know what I mean? That can definitely help boost up what I was talking about with connection rate. So you're talking to more leads. More conversations you're having are going to lead to more discovery calls, which are going to lead to more in-person estimates, which are going to lead to more sales, right? That's how it works.
yeah, absolutely. And the more you can automate this stuff, the better it is, just because as your business grows, you get busier. You are trying to make phone calls. You're making all these connections and networking and doing everything else. there's so much technology out there. Take advantage of it to automate it, with hiring, Matt to get your Facebook ads, that you have software that can collect it, put it, respond to them. It just makes the whole sales process so much easier. And honestly, it helps you in the end with more profits because you're able to sell more and because of that
Yeah.
communication with that client. And that's what we
Yeah.
all want.
Yeah. And I mean, something that we're doing right now with our clients, because we've been generating leads for them all year, is now we're going into their CRM. We use High Level for all of our clients, and we're doing reactivation campaigns. So like we're just reactivating all the all the leads, sorry, that have said like, oh, like not ready to, to move forward just yet. So guess what? They're all getting a text or an email saying like, hey, right now and until this deadline, we're offering 5% off or 10% off any legitimate estimate you've gotten from us. If you move forward this month, we'll give you a discount or whatever it is. Powerful.
Yeah, like we have clients that are sending out activation campaigns for fall cleanup. It's leaf season up here, so now it's a great time to make sure that they've been doing it for a little while ago, but it's a great time to be sending those emails out to ask for fall cleanup specials and whatnot you have. So
Yeah, nice. Do you guys want to, maybe we could jump into the Q&A here, like where we could just kind of do rapid fire questions and me and Scott can answer. So any marketing or sales questions, you guys can just ask away.
I did see Drew had a question. It was kind of about the Google ads. It looks like the differences between the LSA and the Google search ads. If you can kind of maybe go over that a
Yeah.
little bit.
So basically what I would say is LSA is basically like Google ads with training wheels, essentially. So it's like a simplified version of Google ads where essentially instead of bidding on keywords, you're bidding on a category. So lawn care or whatever type of category. And you're essentially bidding on like a specific category, and you just have to do like a quick background check, submit your insurance, and then Google will approve you. And then you can basically be set up on the program of Google guaranteed, and you'll show up on the top results of Google. Whereas search ads is like you're bidding on specific keywords, and like some keywords are more expensive than others, and you need to be in there and basically like pick the ones that you want and then, negate the ones you don't want, essentially. So I would say that search ads is more complex, more advanced. You can get better results, but you need to be very good. And personally, I'm finding right now they're just getting so expensive in many different markets that I would recommend LSA for most people.
Yeah. And to kind of go along with what Matt is saying, this is where hiring somebody like Savant Marketing Agency to kind of help you with ads. Yes, they do charge for it, but the money you could be wasting, whether it's running the Facebook ads or the Google ads, you could be throwing thousands of dollars away that you could put to somebody that knows how to do it and knows how to test it and go through it properly. You in the end save money by hiring an agency to do some of these things.
Drew says he's got 21 reviews. That's a good start, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good start.
That 10 is a key number. And I will say though, after you get to a certain point, after you get like 20 reviews, if you don't have anything on like Facebook, go get some reviews on Facebook. You can split those up. If you don't have anything on Nextdoor or Yelp, get reviews on those things. Those are also helpful for your SEO purposes as well.
All right, we got some good questions here. Sweet. So Drew is asking, I'd be new to the content side of things like collection. Any tips there? So if you go to my blog on savantmarketingagency.com, there is a blog called How to Crush Video Ads that maybe we could get a link to as well. Yep. I'd give you some really good practical tips in there as well. Asking about drone shots. So the drone shots are really good for B-roll, and that's valuable, but you want the effect of the selfie video because the selfie video has your face in it and people are going to relate to you more. The drone shots are good, but they are not as good as the selfie style. So if you can get really good at pitch, think about it. Like you're literally putting your face and your pitch in front of someone's face on social media, right?
The one thing I will share just from my experience with people doing videos, Matt, to get them comfortable is do videos on something that you know or comfortable with. So if you know how to do a block wall, talk about why you do block walls the way you do things, because it'll come off natural.
Yeah.
Where you do it that way, it'll be easier. Why do you do a certain way with, however you wire up your landscape lighting? show how you put on the wire nuts
Yeah.
or you solder or whatever you do. Explain that and just talk about it just so you get comfortable on camera, and then things will start to become easier as you go. Matt, I definitely appreciate you hopping in here tonight and sharing all this great information. We want to thank you all for showing up here tonight. This says
Yeah.
a
Thank
lot
you
about
guys.
you guys for taking the time out of your busy day to kind of show up and just start to learn new things, because it's again, ads can get confusing, the websites, all this stuff can get confusing, especially if you're not staying up to date on it. So this says a lot about you. So we appreciate every one of you guys hopping in here tonight. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys.